Do you want to know what are the true signs that a man is hiding his feelings for you? In this video, you will discover the signs a man is hiding deep feelings for you. And you will, of course, also discover so that you can actually talk yourself out of your internal dialogue and trying to convince yourself that he's into you when he's actually not. So it will really help you to stop second guessing yourself, questioning yourself, and doubting yourself, but rather say, yes, he is interested in me. No, he's actually not interested in me. Now, if you're ready to break through your old patterns and be that right woman to attract the most amazing man, then comment right below, I am ready now. I'm Antia Boyd, founder and creator of the Magnetize Your Man method. And look, this is the channel where we magnetize your man so that the man you want, desires, and most importantly, pursues you forever. Right? Like that's really important. So if you like what I wear, what I share, my background, do me a favor and give it a like. And also don't forget to subscribe by hitting that lovely bell as well. And lastly, sharing is caring. So make sure you let a girlfriend or two know about it. And lastly, listen all the way to the end for a surprising added bonus that I want to share with you that will really help you to make the difference and know if he's truly interested in you. So let's dive right into the signs, true signs that a man is actually hiding deep feelings for you. Number 5 is he just acts a little bit off, right? He just kind of he doesn't really know what to say. He gets nervous. Maybe he uses his napkin to wipe his sweat off his face. Maybe forgets what he wanted to say, right? Or you're like, wait, somehow this guy doesn't feel really grounded. Like he feels like kind of all over the place. And this happened actually to me before I met my husband, Brody. And I was going on a lot of first dates. And it was so crazy. I mean, like some guys were just really acting off. Like we're like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. You drove that far. You're still pursuing me. You're still texting me. You're still calling me. You're active. Oh, like it's because you are actually interested in me. Okay, got it, right? Like you're actually so attracted to me and you don't know how to balance that inside of yourself. And so you act off, right? Because you kind of like, don't know how to act. And what's interesting is, right, like when there's like this combat between logic and feelings, right? Because the logic is saying, I just want to play cool, right? I just want to like, I mean, like I don't want to get ahead of myself. But then the feeling is like, oh my God, I'm so attracted to her. And the chemicals are almost like oozing out of him, so to say. Then things start to become like really wonky. And we can really forget what we wanted to say. I mean, that even happened to me when I was attracted to a guy. And I would sound like an idiot. I literally forgot what he said, what I said. I just stared into the nothingness. So yeah, that's what can happen, right? So he'll act a little off, which leads me to start at point number 4. He tries to impress you. And I know what you want to say because sometimes you may end up actually with an eye roll because he's saying, look, I just got home from a date and this guy couldn't stop talking about himself. He couldn't stop talking about his accomplishments. He couldn't stop talking about, what he loves to do. He couldn't stop talking about, whatever it is, but he just had to be just bigger than life. Now, one option that it could be is he's really trying to impress you. He really wants to look the best possible. And that's because it's kind of like the animal kingdom, right? Like a lot of male animals, right, of the species, like they actually will make themselves bigger than they actually are, right? Or more colorful. They try to impress the female. And so that's the same thing. That's still true inside of us, right? That's still actually working on us. Whether it makes sense or not, we do have this animal brain still working inside of ourselves. And especially when it comes to dating and attraction, the animal brain will be more used and more active than other areas of your life. So this is actually a good way to look like, oh, where's this actually true? And it's interesting. You can really watch sort of like Animal Planet, Planet Animal, I think it's called, or any of those like documentaries and the mating behaviors. And you actually see, oh, wait a minute, I just experienced that last week on a date. Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. So if you like what you see so far, go ahead and comment, like, and also let me know which country or state are you watching from. Number 3 is he raises his eyebrow. Now, this is really interesting because so what happens oftentimes when we go on a date and when you are actually coming more from the anxious attachment style, you would be more focused on like, okay, does he like me? Am I sitting right? Did I say the right thing? And you may actually miss the small distinctions, right? The small body language that the man exhibits when he's interested in you. So when he raises his eyebrows, just like that, right? Like we actually see in research, that means he is attracted to you. Like it's not something that he can necessarily control, right? So, and it's also about like really seeing like making yourself bigger and also like being more sensitive around your whole skin area, right? So there's many different reasons for that, but all you want to know is that they will raise the eyebrow. So it's not like, huh, what did you just say? Or, is this like a good thing? No, that actually means he is attracted to you. And this is actually the cool thing. There's this other cool show called Lie to Me. And they actually talk about body language a lot and how to discover like when somebody is actually really lying, because some are really good liars and they can pass lie detectors, but they cannot pass body language detectors because that we do unconsciously. For example, you can't control when your voice out of the sudden drops, right? Like you can't control it, it just happens when something is not in alignment. That's one indication that he is lying, right? So we're not going to go into that right now, but just as an example, how powerful body language really is. And speaking of which, number 2 is he plays with his clothes, right? And this is again, he wants to make sure, do I look right? Is everything good? So he's like making sure he's wearing the best shirt and it's all flat and straight and all the things, right? So he's like, again, this goes back to wanting to impress you. So while you may think, wow, this guy's like a little nervous to me, like I think you need somebody who's a little bit more grounded, a little bit more confident, like what's with all this fiddling with his clothes? Well, it could very well mean that he is actually attracted to you and he wants to make sure that he looks his best because you look your best and he wants to be a match for you. So really something to keep in mind rather than judging him really quickly, because especially for the women, right, who actually grew up and who had to act proper and dress proper and behave proper and so on, they will be almost turned off by a man who like does the opposite, right? Who plays with his clothes and fiddles with his clothes. And like, what's wrong with this guy? Can he just keep his hands on his table? Like, it can feel like irritating. It can feel confusing. And that's where you have to know what the real signs are so that you not get aggravated when a man is actually truly interested in you. Now, if you like anything that I shared so far, do me a favor, give it a like. And of course, also don't forget to subscribe. Number 1, and by the way, almost everything that I share in this video is about like enlarging yourself or sort of exhibiting authority. So hands on hips is actually a sign for an of authority, right? So he's actually making himself like, he's like taking a stand. And he's also supporting himself. He's like, okay, I'm a little nervous. I'm like, I'm okay. I'm like stabilizing myself around my most masculine area, right? But of course, also his sexual organs are, and so on. So hands on hips can make him feel like more confident and give him more authority. So again, something to pay attention to, something you could easily also miss because like maybe someone else around you is doing it too, or maybe you do it, but actually tracking yourself. When are you doing it? Usually you're doing it because you want to support yourself. Why do you want to support yourself? What's happening inside of you? What's collapsing inside of you? What's the internal dialogue? Where's the weakening happening? Why is the weakening happening? Is there an insecurity inside of yourself? Why is there an insecurity inside of yourself? So you see, you almost become this question asking fool, right? That you're like, wait a minute, we never do anything by accident. We never do anything because we just do it. There's usually like a massive reason for that. So I'd love to hear from you. Before I share my final bonus secret, comment below, what signs have you seen in a man who is actually attracted to you? So let me know in the comment section so we can share that potentially also in the next video. And for all of you who stayed until the very end, here's the bonus, which is he's spreading his legs. So again, we go a lot into the animal kingdom, into making yourself look and feel bigger than you are. And spreading his legs, of course, also comes from showing his sexual area in that sense, right? Like being like, I'm ready to mate. So it's actually two things. For one, spreading his legs, he makes himself feel bigger. And this is interesting because my husband and I, we did like some speed dating events back in the day. And it was really awesome because what we did, it was really fun. So we, of course, had like the men rotate and the women rotate, but then they were filling out anonymous feedback forms. And it was really interesting because the men who had more sort of this sitting more like wide-legged, right, were like in general more the attractive ones to the females versus, let's say, a guy who would pull his legs back and lean it sort of like almost like under the chair. It's almost like an apologetic nature, and themselves smaller and pulling themselves out versus actually spreading their legs and be like, I'm here, right? I'm here. I'm grounded. I'm here. I'm ready to mate. And this is what you have to think about. When you think about attraction, you have to think about in mating terms. Now, if you want to apply for a free Magnetize Your Man clarity session with me or one of my expert love coaches, then hop on over to mymcall.com. We can dive much, much deeper into this. And of course, the link is also in the description below. And of course, if you haven't done so already, watch next. When a man deeply loves you, he will start saying these 5 things. Lots of love to you, ladies, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye-bye.